Welcome back to the Acoustic Shop channel. Today we're going to be talking banjos, and more banjos. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're talking about the Deering Rustic Wreath. We're going to tell you all the specs, all the things about it, what you like, what you don't like. We're going to give it a rating, and we're going to give you a tone sample. We're going to do all of that today, Jeremy. All of it.
I can't wait.
In this video.
Difference between a banjo player and an extra large pizza?
No, what?
An extra large pizza can feed a family of 5. Now we got the banjo jokes, right?
I guess. Is that what
Guys, welcome back to the channel. We are John and I am Jeremy, and we like to talk about acoustic instruments.
We do.
We have a music shop in Springfield, Missouri, which also includes banjos. We've done a lot with mandolins and guitars, and we said we got to do some more banjo stuff. So.
We're doing our best, ladies and gentlemen. We're doing our best. This is definitely not my area of expertise, but I do love banjos. I do like seeing how they're built and going through the various different ones. I understand them. I just can't.
We grew up with it. Our dad played banjo. As kids, we'd have him tinkering with his banjo. While we're trying to watch TV, we learned how to tune out what was going on in behind us so we could watch the TV.
It's amazing how many Matlock episodes I watched with banjo in the background. Ends up, banjo was not actually part of the soundtrack to that.
It was always part of the murder plot. But if you guys would like to hear that song, we have a full version of Cripple Creek, Going Up a Cripple Creek, in another video. There's a link in the description below.
You know where Cripple Creek came from? It's a gold mining creek. That was where they pan in gold. Did you know that?
I didn't know that, but now I do. Going on a run.
Yeah.
Gonna have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's have a lot of fun right now with this banjo, John. Tell us what we're looking at here.
We are looking at the Deering Rustic Wreath. Now, this is a new take on a banjo that they've been doing. They have it's part of the Golden Era series, and that is their Gibson-like banjos, very master tone-like banjos. They've been doing this in the Golden Era, which had a Hearts and Flowers, and then they also do it in the Golden Wreath, which is the wreath pattern. Those are the two most popular patterns of banjos for the Gibson period. The Hearts and Flowers was a very, very popular one, made very, very popular by Earl Scruggs and his Granada. And then the other one was the wreath design, which Don Reno and a lot of those had in the RB3s. And they offer both of those in the Golden Era series. But what they wanted to do was make one that was a little more affordable, and what they did was just basically scale it down. Kept that wreath pattern.
Made it rustic.
But they rusticized the wreath.
Try saying rustic wreath 3 times straight.
I don't think that's a good idea. It really isn't.
But anyway, this does have kind of a satiny finish, so that saves a little bit of the cost.
It is a very light satin finish. Instead of using pearl for all the inlays, they're using the plastic or mother of toilet seat, which does kind of give it a little bit deal. But the big thing about this is it saves quite a bit of money. So the pot assembly is the same as the assembly for those Golden Era banjos. So the specs on this banjo are this. It prices out at $34.69. Obviously is a resonator banjo. It does have a 3-ply resonator, which is, again, poplar, and the final layer being maple on this. Again, it is the 3-ply violin grade maple rim, which we talked to Jens about this. This is the red maple, and they've been, that's kind of a cool thing.
They did a lot of experimentation between like sugar maple and hard rock maple and all those different ones, and they really settled on this.
This red maple, yeah. So this on this one has the plain white binding. Does have a single A grade ebony fretboard. It does have the
maple neck.
Exactly. It does have the one-piece zinc flange, which is in the master tone print instead of the normal Deering 3-hole. I don't know what they call that design, but it's the Deering one. Design. Anyway, this is more of the Gibson style. This particular banjo does have the 06 tone ring, which is a 20-hole bell bronze tone ring.
And if you guys don't know what that means, then you probably don't study banjos too much. But there is underneath the head is a bell bronze cast tone ring. So that big metal thing right here adds about 5 to 8 pounds of weight to it. But they drill out different holes, and there's a lot of controversy.
There's some with no holes, or some with
28 holes, and
I don't know how many holes it's supposed to have, but they all have a great value. So anyway, this particular one does have the Deering standard 06 tone ring, which is their 20-hole bell bronze tone ring. It is nickel plated. Does have the True Tone tailpiece again, which is very Presto-like without that rattling cover that goes on top of here. Does have the Deering planetary tuners. A dark walnut stain on this maple, which is really kind of plain and understated, but it's still very attractive. So again, that same satin finish on this. So if you're looking, it does have a very good call, Jer. I like that. That's very good. It's very much so. It does come with the Deering hard shell case. This one has the traditional U-shaped neck on this one, so a little bit more Gibson-like instead of the Deering neck shape, which is a little more D-shaped. Net width on this again is 1 1/4, which is slightly wider than your standard Gibsons, but again, still very comfortable to play. 26 1/4 inch scale length on this. Again, does not have a pickup or any extras that were added to it.
These all have a flat fretboard, correct?
These will all have a flat fretboard.
Most banjos do, unless there's something special about them.
I'm almost looking. Yeah, this one's flat. There's no radius to that. All right, no. I thought for some reason out of nowhere, but I should have been able to tell that again with the flat bridge. So yes, it's a standard flat one.
Do these come with a smile bridge on them? You can get one.
They do come with a smile bridge on them.
Is that development by Jens and the folks over at Deering?
Yeah. The thing about this banjo, I think the customer that's looking for this is wanting a pro-level, full-on banjo, especially in that Gibson-y style from Deering as an American-made banjo.
As far as playability and setup and
the pot assembly. It has that same exact pot assembly of the upper-end golden era banjos. But this one does come in at a much lower price. So if you're not needing all the frills and that nicer finish, the inlays out of pearl versus this material, then definitely this is going to be it. So it's going to have a lot of that tone features. Now again, it does still sound different than the upper end golden era banjos because that finish still does make a difference. We've discussed this on many, many videos. Satin finishes have a different sound to them, and you may love that or you may not.
Banjo,
yeah, it does. Now I've had some people that have played this that have absolutely loved it, think it gives it much more vintage tone. I've had other banjo players that play it think, I think I'll go for the upper end banjo. So,
and you were mentioning this also compared to we did the
Calico?
Calico. This has a slightly deeper
resonator. It's going to have that Gibson style resonator, so a deeper well for this. And I should, one of these days, next one of these videos, we're going to measure exactly how much deeper it is.
Probably in the photos of this banjo.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe just slightly, slightly deeper. Giving it a little bit more throaty sound. There is a definite Gibson sound and there's a Deering sound. And this is a little bit more laid back, and like I said, a little bit more deeper mid-range tone to this banjo. Again, tone-wise, I think this is a really good one. I've played a lot of the Golden Era banjos. I think they're probably my favorite of the Deering line. But this is no slouch. I'm going to try to hit strings next time. That would be good.
The ones that you did hit sounded really good.
That's great.
Yeah.
Really gives you kind of that punch, and you're hearing that big sustain as well. So a really, really great, comfortable banjo play. I think I may like this neck shape a little bit better. Again, I'm so used to those big guitar shape necks that this, I don't know. I can tell the big differences there. Anyway, so I think it's a great sounding banjo, especially for a budget-friendly person, which is exactly what this is designed for.
And so we always try to do pros and cons. We've talked about some of the things we like. If you come up with a few things that you may or may not like as much, or what some people may not be looking for, what would you say? I'll start.
Please do.
The white binding for me is a little bright on the whiteness.
We'll just take a little shoe polish. And
a little shoe polish right
here.
Just
up a little bit.
Darken it a little bit with that dark.
But there's some nice, burl to that. Look at that. There's some flame maple underneath there. That's not a cheap ply.
Yeah, it's a good looking piece there.
It's nice. I have to say, if there was one knock that I'm going to have, and I know why it's done, it saves a lot of money. The plastic inlays, from a distance, you're not going to notice this at all. Me, though, I notice it. They did a good job of plasticizing the pearl
And
look.
that's not a new thing for these guys. It's been in the 20s. They figured out they could use
There was
plastic.
actually a time period when this stuff was
entire
more
banjo
valuable
was.
than pearl was.
And then the entire resonator and everything would be made out of that.
Kelcroyd banjos and all that kind of stuff. So, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it. I know why it's done.
Same cost.
I guess if I was sitting there and looking at the budget and I was doing this, I would absolutely not care about that. But it's probably not my favorite thing.
And it's the same with the satin finish. I think on banjos, I'm really used to that gloss finish from the traditional look of them. But if you went through and said, all right, how can we make this banjo more affordable? The two things would be the finish and then the inlay. That would cut a lot of cost.
I just
but not
wonder
hurt
if I would
the
like it.
playability of the banjo.
I wonder if I would like it having that finish on the rim, because I do like that, and it maybe loosens it up a little bit for tone, and yet still having the rest
Hey,
of it.
Mr. Deering,
Yeah, there you go. We'll try that one on the next one. Anyway,
what would you say it compares to?
I would say if you're looking at this, you're trying to get that step up from like a Recording King or a Gold Tone, or those type of banjos, the Gold Stars, and it's definitely there. I'm not going to even say that it is not. Now, it is still quite a bit pricier. We're still talking about $1,000 difference
Because
here.
this is fully American made, where those other ones are import.
But I think even still, the fit and finish is quite a step up from that level of banjo. Again, there's a level of banjo, a level of every instrument for everybody out there, But if you're really looking at a pro size style banjo and wanting to kind of cut some of the costs, because banjos aren't very inexpensive, they're quite pricey. These are corners that I would easily cut and still bring that down. So again, comparison-wise, I think you're closer to that level, but I still think you're jumping up quite a bit when you hit this level of banjo. So now we'll get to our ratings, and we're going to kind of work our way through this, Jared. This is always fun.
4, 7, 3.
Yeah, so, all right. Anyway, tone-wise on this banjo, I find the bottom end a little bit on the flat side. It's not as rich. It's got low end, but it's a little bit flat to me. Yet the rest of the tone really does sound really, really good. So on this particular one that I've got in front of me, I mean, I'm going to kind of restate this.
Remember, our scorecard is within like price range and like models.
And this falls in that in-between spot, which is kind of tough for me a little bit because of the fact that, this is higher price than that the Recording King 76 and Elite 75 and that kind of stuff. But yet, it's a better sounding than that, but it still leaves me a little bit flat. So I'm going to give it 4. That's where I'm going to go with it.
I was thinking 3.75 because you got to do a 7.5 on the last review. So
all right.
I'm going to go there. And that's not a real knock on it. It's a good sounding banjo. It's a little bit soft for me. It doesn't have quite the projection.
Now, setup and playability, again, this is where Deering's going to knock all those other banjos out of the park. This is what they do. They set these things up perfectly. For the majority of players. Everybody's going to have their variants, of course, but it plays extremely easy, yet there's more than enough height that a Neanderthal player like me that just bangs the living whatever out of it can do it. So setup is fantastic on this. This is where I'm going to go with that 4.75. I don't have any issues with the setup.
And like last time, I don't play the banjo, so I'm going to go with your word on this and go with 4.75 as well.
All right, there we go. All right, build quality. Again, the quality is all there. There's a few shortcuts, but they're deliberate shortcuts, so I can't really knock it on any of that stuff. The fit, everything that was in here, I took it, like I said, to loosen that head. Everything in here just fits the way it's supposed to.
They seem to be very tight on their quality control, and probably just the production assembly line, the way they've developed it, helps them keep very consistent. But yeah, the build quality on it, the quality of what they were going for out of it, I would give a 4.5.
Yep, I'm actually going to go all the way to a 5. They're so tight on all their tolerances, and everything just looks really, really good. Aesthetics on the looks of this. This is where I told you it's not my favorite. I like it, and I understand
It'll probably grow on me a little bit.
It's all right. And I know there's going to be a ton of people that are going to argue this one. But for me, this is a 3.5. I like it. I don't love it.
I would give it a 4. like banjos. Just doesn't have that gloss finish and some of that the shiny stuff, but you know why.
Yeah,
So.
absolutely. Overall, our shop sustainable. We've talked about this. We know we don't know all the details. They are definitely making major strides to do some really great things over at Deering, including some new ways of doing plating and finishes and all that kind of stuff. So we don't know.
Sustainability is on their mind.
Yes.
I don't know if that's completely been implemented. What harm does it do for us to plant 5 trees?
No.
We'll go ahead and plant 5 for this.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna do
banjo when
that.
it sells.
Overall value at a little over $3,100. I think this is actually a really great banjo. I really find it to be a really awesome choice.
Something you've got to include in that value is American made. That means a lot to some people. It does when you're comparing that price range to another banjo that's an import. You've got to include that as part of the overall value. Yes, the price is higher, but it's got some jobs over there in California.
You're also going to see that, on all the import banjos that we talked about, neck shapes are way bigger than this. This is definitely a player profile neck shape that you're not going to see on any of the other ones. And we carry those, don't get me wrong.
Even the quality, the cases they send them in.
Yeah, it's all there. So the value of this one, I'm going to give it a 4.5.
I agree.
Overall, really great banjo. What we're going to try to do right now is give you a tone sample as best I can and let you hear what this banjo sounds like by itself, and then we'll be back with our final thoughts. It is a really good value banjo. If you're wanting to get a pro banjo at a much more affordable price, this is a really good option out there.
And if you'd like to see another banjo, we did a review on the Calico from
There
Deering
is a
Banjos.
pro level banjo.
Pro level banjo. We got the oxblood version of that, which is very
limited
special.
edition.
Check out this video right here. Very nice banjo, and you can kind of compare back and forth between these two models.